alive. Yeah, yeah. Wisdom of God, Lord, I need your advice. Your word is a lamp unto my feet, a light unto my path. Your truth reigneth over the earth, and you give it to all who would have. Wisdom of God, guide me through this life. Wisdom of God, oh Lord, I need your advice. Lord, I need your advice. So I call on the wisdom of God. If any man lacks wisdom, let him ask of God.
I'm going to change my approach here and bring this down here. It's a bit more close and intimate. That's what this is all about. You're going to have to put up with the very old-fashioned videos and PowerPoints, because last time I did something like this was mid-90s, so good luck. I just want to welcome everyone here. I want to say thanks for coming along. There's quite a few people that have sent their apologies, which is actually blew me away a little bit, because I just expected people would either turn up or not turn up, and I wouldn't know who was coming. So, but there's quite a few people, and I suppose in particular it's the Red Door ministry team, because they've really been behind me and backed me in what I'm doing. And they're away on a ministry retreat this week, so I just really appreciate those guys. There's also a few other people I just want to say thank you up front before I get into what I'm doing. And one of those is Paul up on the video machine up there. Paul has been pretty instrumental in helping us put stuff together, especially the website. He put that together. I went there, and Ali and we went there with a bit of paper and went, this is what we want to tell people, this is what we want to do. And he said, have you thought of this, thought of that, thought of this? And we went, say what? And so he's basically developed that website for us. So I want to really say thanks to Paul and for coming along tonight and want to support this event too. The other is Adam Meredith, senior pastor here. I've spent a lot of time, not just in the recent times, but over the past 5 or 6 years, I suppose, just chatting to him about stuff, and especially over the last few years where I've become more involved in moving out of my comfort zone and really putting myself out there to help people. And I suppose one of those areas was with the Perth Redbacks basketball. I started coaching there, which I feel very comfortable doing. And then I moved into a role, I suppose, coaching SBL men, assistant coaching that. And it was there that I realised that the impact that I had was on the relational level more so than the coaching level. And was from that point forward when I had that realisation that we now are mentors within that club, and it's known as pastoral support. So Redbacks have been a big part of that as well. I want to thank Bevan. We've not had a lot of conversations, but we've had a few over the last month or so, and he's really supported what I've done, what I'm doing, and what Wisdom Calling is all about. But especially I want to just say thanks to Ali. This is Trev's thing. She would say that. But she is the backbone behind it. She has really pushed me in some ways and challenged me to just follow my heart, I suppose. So I just want to say thank you to her as well. I suppose the aim of tonight is just to give you guys a bit of an overview of what Wisdom Calling is, so you know what it is, so that hopefully if there's an opportunity for you to share it with someone else that might need it or would benefit from it, that you'll be able to do that. And I'll go through some things later on how it will be promoted and how you can help promote it, and maybe it even might be something that you can utilise for yourself or for your family. who are we? Like I said, it's me and Ali. Basically, it's come from this journey of life. Ever since I was probably early teens, I've been through things that, some of them through bad choices, some of them through lifestyle choices, some of them through experiences I've gone through with other people. I wouldn't say it was just their fault, but it's stuff we've journeyed together. And even with me and Ali and our family and just family life and kids and stuff that they've struggled with, I suppose it's been one of those things where I haven't been the wisest person in a lot of cases. And it's been the times when the wisest thing I did in all that time is to put people in place that I could talk to if I needed to offload, if I just needed to sort some stuff out. And they didn't have the answers. They just allowed me to talk and they asked me questions and they helped me sort it out myself. And God was a big part of that as well. They prayed and supported me through that. I suppose one of the keys is that there's a guy that you're going to see a photo of later that really impacted my world. And I was sharing with Bevan just beforehand that he struggled with rheumatoid arthritis, and him and I got to know each other when I became a single dad of 2 kids at 25. And his parents were very strict, I suppose rigid Christians in their Christianity, and didn't give him much chance to just offload and say things and do things. And once a month him and I would go out, and sadly for him, and it is a bit sad, but I fully understood the only thing that ever took the pain away, it was on morphine, it was on every sort of drug you could think of, he was on steroids. The only thing that ever stopped him from having pain was alcohol. So sadly he struggled with alcohol a little bit, but him and I would go out once a month, and that entailed us just offloading on each other. We'd come back to my place and we just let it fly. There was a little Asian lady that came up to me, and she's probably the reason it all happened. She came up to me at church one time and said, "Trevor, you need to have time by yourself, or time to just get away from the kids. So I'm going to take the kids off you once a month, and they're going to come to my place, they're going to sleep the night is yours, and come and pick them up the next night." And so I had that night off once a month with Russell, and it was through that time that I suppose both of us talking and offloading on each other, and we did include God in it, that we realised that talking is the best thing you can do, opening up and not being ashamed of it. So that's sort of where it came from. I'm going to talk a bit more about stuff, but I want to show you a video, and yes, it's a 1990s, get over the filming, but it's the heart of this video that really talks about a journey I've been on. I used to judge people, I used to condemn people, I used to criticise people, I used to get frustrated with people. People cut me off in traffic, I'd yell at them and I'd abuse them. If I was at work and people frustrated me because of what they do, the way they were doing things, I'd let them know. And I wasn't a very nice person as a father. Danny can attest to this. I wasn't always a great father in the way that I handled things, and I didn't show a lot of wisdom. And this video, basically, I call it seeing others through God's eyes, shows you a bit of the journey that I went on and how God revealed people's journeys to me. So if you could just play that, thanks, Paul.
Kid, every time I'm pulling out, he's right there. Man, someone needs to talk to his parents if they're ever at home. What is up with the traffic these days? And always, every day, this intersection's always crowded. I hate pulling out of here. I need some of these dumb roads. Oh, there's... Oh. Okay, so I'm not even here. Right. Great lady. The princess of parking. Sure. Take the spot. Way to be considerate. Oh. Kidding me? Unbelievable. Oh.
Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, it's about time. Let's see, what do I want?
Yeah, could I add a cookie to that order?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no problem, only guy in the world. I'm sure you need your cookies. The world, your oyster, and he's serving your cookies.
Thank you so much. What can I get for you?
Yeah, I'll tall decaf macchiato.
Yeah, sure, no problem. $3.85. And it might take a few minutes here. We've got quite a line, obviously, and thanks for your patience. Great.
Yeah, great. Great for me. Winning again. Unbelievable. What? What? What is that? What in the world? Oh. What am I supposed to do? How can I do anything about that? Can I even help with that? I don't.
Your copy, sir. Oh.
I can't take this anymore. I gotta get out of here.
Hey, what?
Sorry.
Hey, buddy, come here.
So I suppose that video gives you a bit of an idea of the journey I've been on, particularly over probably the last 10 years or so. The journey probably started with me and someone caring about me and someone saying, hey, Trev, you okay? And me being able to chat to those people and just realising that, looking at myself, that, hey, if I'm like that, but I'm actually a good person, but I'm just going through stuff, and it gets expressed to other people. They don't know it, and so I can understand their reactions to me. But if they knew it, how differently would they approach me, and how differently would they, I suppose, interact with me? And then I took it a step further, and I actually changed my Christian walk in that I started to say to God, and it started with my gorgeous wife, Ali, many years ago. I started to say to God, because we were having some hard times and frustration, and God blessed me with a job where I didn't have a car to get to work at this time, so I'd walk 20 minutes to the station, get on a train for 45 minutes and walk for another 40 minutes to work. So I only had prayer and reading a book, which I don't read, so I really had prayer. And what changed in my prayer, rather than me going, God, Ali's just really struggling. She's this, she's that. God, can you just fix it? Can you just help her? My prayer changed to, God, can you show me how you see Ali? Can you show me what she is in your eyes? And all of a sudden I started finding that my prayers were changing from, God, I thank you for the great mum she is. God, I thank you for the fact that she took her time. She gave up a lot of her dreams to be the mum of my kids. And I just changed it from, and I'd come and see her and go, Ali, I just love you because you're this, this and this. And it just changed the way I was. And I realised that other people, when I talk to them, when I'd say, how you going, I wouldn't just say, how you going, I said, how are you going? I really want to know. And I really want to know their story. I want to know their journey of life. And I found that as I did that, and I got to know people, they got to know me. And it was me being real. It was just me being raw, the good, the bad, the ugly. But also, it was just Trevor being natural and Trevor being honest. And it was that journey that took us to here. So what are we actually doing with Wisdom Calling? I suppose a part of it is what we're doing at the Redbacks, and that's pastoral support. So it's funny talking to Adam and people that are in ministry, and you hear them talk, well, they do get days off, they don't get days off, because people are still messaging them, people are still emailing them, and people are still, ringing them. And it was probably through that I realised that I could also be a support to those guys, and while they're the pastors of local church, I can be a pastor that supports other organisations and other ministries, and in the sense of being a contact person that people could ring, people could email and say, hey, I just need someone to chat to. I can be that initial contact, and if I feel like they need real pastoral support, I can pass them on to a local church. It's not all about Red Door. I invited a whole heap of other churches here as well, and I'm not concerned that they're not here, because I'm going to go and network with them anyway. I'm going to network with government organisations. I'm going to network with professionals in counselling, and because one thing we realised especially when Ellie went through the breast cancer, if you didn't know, I'm sorry about that, but when she went through breast cancer, one of the things we realised was the combination of professional secular help and other things she's been through as well, but the combination of professional secular help and spiritual support and God, the combination of that actually gave a holistic recovery, holistic healing, holistic, I suppose, even mindset, and helped her through that and helped us through that in that way. So I've realised that that's very important. But it's also mentoring, it's encouraging, advising, it's regarding personal, relational support and spiritual growth as well. Now, as you go on, we're going to go a bit later, not quite yet, but we're going to go through the website, and that website's been really designed from a secular point of view, because we don't want people to go and see the word God, Christian and all that and be shied away. But what tonight is about is to show you guys what the real underlying ministry is. And I've really come to learn that when you just reach out, there's a verse that is everyone will know, and it's that they'll know you are Christians by your love. And when you just love people, you don't realise that they're seeing God when you just love them from God's heart. So that's why we do what we're doing. Obviously, I've told you why I'm doing it. So how are we going to do it? Got a website, which you'll see later. We're networking. I'm going to network with businesses. I'm going to network with other Christian organisations. I'm going to network. I've already networked with Altar One and things that are involved here. I'm involved with FFI, and that's a big part of the direction that we've come on as well. Has been a big part in play in that. But networking, doing things like we do at the Redbacks, just through testimony, business cards, people just take them. But if you take a bunch of business cards tonight and just give them out if you want, whenever you can, or whenever you feel led to, just do that. So that's how we're doing it. And in reality, it's how God wants us to do it. So if He opens another way of doing it, I'll do it whatever way He says. One thing I want to be really upfront with, this is part-time at the moment. So we have financial commitments, and God really challenged me because I was saying, okay, God, do I need to go all in with this and take the risk and give up work and go, I'm in? And He went, no, you need to provide financial support and security for your family. And there's things that have happened in our family that have really nailed that and shown me that that has to happen. So I'm working full-time. The idea is that, and I'll be really honest, Adam helped me with this, that basically it'll be 40 hours a week doing my work, 20 hours a week doing this, and then the rest of the time is family, friends, social trev time, a church time, and all that sort of stuff. So, and there's things we're putting in place to help us keep that in place. But the vision, the real vision, is that through this, that people will see Christ's heart. People will see God. People will see how God loves them. And people will see that Jesus Christ was sent down and died on the cross and rose again so that they could be set free from anxiety, from just being not having peace. That's all available. So we want to be an organisation or a ministry that brings hope and brings life and brings truth to people. So that's the real vision of what we're doing. So right now we're just going to pull up a PowerPoint up on the screen, and we've put together a values statement. And I'm not going to read the whole thing. I might read some of the Bible verses. This is available. If you want to get a copy of this, it's as simple as there'll be a contact form out the back there. If you want to know anything about us, you want to ask questions, you want to get information about what we've been doing and what we are going to do, there's a contact form out there, and you can basically simply write down that we want a copy of this, and I'll send a PDF to you via email or text. But basically, when we were thinking about the name, wisdom was obviously a big key in it, but we didn't know how to put the vision, I suppose, across of what we're trying to demonstrate or offer. And this verse in James 3:17 says, "But the wisdom that comes from heaven is first of all pure, then peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy, and good fruit, impartial and sincere." So that wisdom's there. That wisdom's always there because God puts it there. How do we get to the wisdom? We've got to seek it. The wisdom's calling, and that's what I got out of that. It's a time where actually, for the first time ever, and this isn't bragging, this is bragging about God right now. I woke up one morning and God said, "Go on a 7-day fast." And I'm going, "What? Just don't eat this, don't eat that." He said, "No, you're just going to have liquid. You can have cups of tea." This is a verbal in my head. You're going to have cups of tea and water. That's it. And I've gone, "Okay, yeah, no worries, we'll organise that. That's all good." This was a Sunday morning, came to church. I told Ali about it. We're in worship, and I looked at Ali and gone, "I've already started." She says, what have you done? "I've already started the fast. It starts now." And it was like God just threw it on me. I wasn't prepared. Didn't have time to consider what the consequences were or anything. And I'd wake up to Gavin when Gavin was home still, cooking eggs and bacon for breakfast, making this, making that, and he'd have like 4 eggs and a whole heap of bacon. So that was my breakfast morning, smelling that and all that. And I'll be honest with you, right through the whole week, I did not get hungry once. And I'm going, "God, what is going on here?" And the key message I got is that, "Trev, you don't have to fear anything because I'm going to be there for you. You will be able to handle whatever I put in front of you." And I've gone, "Okay, all right, cool." And it really blew me away. Like, seriously, I went and I think we went out at the end of it and we had some food. And everyone's going, "You're going to want to eat and eat and eat." And I didn't. I didn't eat. I ate a little bit, but I was satisfied. And God just demonstrated that his wisdom is far beyond any wisdom that I have. So if we go to the next slide. So the vision, is it the vision? Yeah. Oh, mission, okay.
There it is.
Is that the second one or third one? The second one's beautiful. So the vision comes from these 2 verses. And like I said, you can get a copy of this. But the vision is to share Christ's heart. That's what it is. And to be a light to the world. And that's what those 2 verses talk about. So share Christ's heart by being concerned, being compassionate, being there for people, and showing that someone loves them, someone cares about their world. Go to the next one, thanks. So with the mission, I'll read that verse in a minute, but basically the mission is to help others travel life well and come into a relationship with Jesus Christ. And that verse is one that a few of you, if you know me, would have heard me mention before, and it says this: "Does not wisdom call out? Does not understanding raise her voice? At the highest point along the way where the paths meet, she takes her stand beside the gate leading into the city. At the entrance she cries aloud, 'To you, O people, I call out. I raise my voice to all mankind. You who are simple, gain prudence. You who are foolish, set your hearts on it.'" And the key one there is at the highest point along the road, where the two paths meet, that's where wisdom is. And we have a choice. There's a wise way and there's not a wise way. There can be many not wise ways and only one wise way. There can be a few wise ways. But how do we do that? Because wisdom's their calling, and it's taking a step back and getting someone to help us do that. So if we can move on to the next one. So the foundation, I'm just going to read these words. So this is the foundation of what we're offering. It's truth, hope and love. That's basically what we want to offer. Thanks, Paul. Next one. So here we have values. As far as prayer goes, prayer is probably the key part in this. And it's, when I go to Redbacks games, I just go to a home game at SBL or go to Wobble for the day. On my way there, I put worship tapes on, and I'll have them on quiet enough that I can just pray and say, God, what are the opportunities that you want me to see today? And it's quite amazing that I don't necessarily see them, but they jump in my lap. And it's been quite amazing that it is just natural. And people just come to me and say, Trev, can I chat? I need to chat to someone. And I go, wow, God, you're just unreal. So prayer, for me, is a real underlying thing, but it's also intercessory prayer. So, and I've got to say, being a part of FFI, it's really opened my eyes to FFI is Family Foundations International. A key part of the success of that is the intercessory prayer. And so Wisdom Calling needs your prayer. It needs people to pray. I'm not saying that everybody of you has to commit to that, but if it's something you see, it's on your heart, or you get prompted to pray, just for Wisdom Calling, pray. Because what happens through prayer, and this is one thing where I've learned to just step out, I'll be praying. And that week when I was fasting, it was Wednesday morning, and I just started reading the Bible, and I put some worship songs on, and all of a sudden I had this name, that name, that name, this name, that name, and I'm praying, and I had a word for everybody, and I just sent a text to them. And they all came back and said, wow, I really needed that, or something along those lines. And I've gone up to people in church when I felt like God said, go and tell this person that, and I've gone, that's just the weirdest thing. But you do it with respect. You allow them to say, it doesn't mean anything to me, but what's the harm in them saying that? There's no harm in them saying, no, it doesn't really mean anything to me, because 10 days down the track, they might go, oh, far out. I remember what Trev said. Yeah. And I've just learned to just step out and trust God in that. And that's what the prayer side of it is all about. Faith is just believing that Jesus Christ has it covered. And that faith in him is the answer as well. So there's two folds to that. Scripture, obviously, I actually share this when I've gone for job interviews. I work as a salesman in the electrical industry. When I've gone for job interviews, on there is, I've done a Bachelor of Theology, Diploma in Ministry, and they'll go, oh, what good's that? No. I said, you have no idea how valuable that is to you. I said, that is why I'm successful at what I do, because it's not about me going and selling a product. It's about me building relationships with people and helping them be the best they can be. And it's because of what I've learned from the Bible. And so that's a big part of why Scripture is really important. Next one, thanks. So relationships, that speaks for itself. It's any type of relationship. You know, one of the things is, and it's a bit further down, it says, understanding that we all struggle with brokenness through many and varied types of emotional, spiritual experiences. And we have no idea what people have gone through. And sometimes they have no idea. Sometimes they have no idea, especially on the spiritual side. And so it's about relationship for the individual with themselves. It's about relationship with family, in marriage, with mother and daughter, father and son, father and daughter, and all that sort of stuff. But it's about business relationships, about all those. And the key is that we desire to see healing and growth in relationships where truth, hope, grace, and love prevail. And the next one, servant heart. We just want to do it with a servant heart because that's what Jesus did. He just came to serve and to honour people and to lay down his life for people. So, hopefully I won't have to lay down my life for people, but in a sense, Ali's allowing me to sacrifice time to go and help other people. And she's done it for a long time. Sometimes she hasn't enjoyed it, but she's supported me in that. So it's about me having a servant heart, about wisdom calling. And I keep saying me. What you need to understand is there'll be times, I'll give you an example, catching up with a young girl for coffee, Ali will always go, organise a time and I'll be there with you. So it keeps a safe zone. And it's actually good for her to be there because she has some input that I wouldn't have in that time. So we also have a communication of safety in that area as well. Grace is just showing grace. God showed me grace. He continues to show me grace, and he will always continue to show me grace because I need his grace. And everybody needs grace. So my role, in more than anything, I reckon, is to show grace to people because grace just changes hearts. Hope. Well, there's only one hope, one thing that can give real hope. I can say to people, it's their choice whether they want to know about God. It's their choice whether they want to follow that, ask me those questions about God. I'm not going to push it on them. But I will share, when I get the opportunity, that real hope is found in him. And I can offer them, I can say, look, there's always hope. In life there's hope. And then there's times, and I'm looking at someone right now, there's times when you don't realise what you're saying to people. You're just having a relationship with them, you're just talking to them. And all of a sudden they're seeing God's heart. And you've told them about God and you don't even know it. So it's a pretty awesome thing. Thanks, Paul. Accountability. Okay. This was pretty important. This will be really key in the success of this ministry. I'm going to go a bit further down the track, talk a bit about the financial side of this and how that's all going to, how God's told me it's going to work. Again, that's a faith thing. But it's very clear that we had to put things in place, or people in place, to ensure that we were doing the right thing, to ensure that the vision that we have is kept before us, that there might be changes along the way in how the ministry operates, but if it's not towards the vision that we have, it's not the right thing. So people keep us on track with that. People to keep me on track with my commitments to work, to ministry, to Ali and family, and to other things, that I'm not overcommitted and that I'm not neglecting, especially Ali. Accountability for spiritual stuff. So to make sure that it doesn't end up being the Trevor show where he goes out and he's just helping people and he feels great about himself, that it's always it's a God thing. It's a spiritual thing, so have a spiritual covering. And I suppose more important is, one of the really important things is, on the financial side, God will bring finances into this ministry. And the dream is that one day I'm not working a 40-hour week in the electrical industry, that I'm working a 60-hour week doing this. That's the dream. And that's the vision God's put before me. It's quite interesting that I wanted to sort of jump in and go, okay, what have I got to do to push this? Ali was she's very good at helping me do that. But it was just really clear, and I know Ali's on board with me with this, that God was saying, this has happened naturally to this point, allow it to happen naturally for the rest of the time. So don't you push it, don't you make it happen, let me do it in my time. And that's God. And so, I've lost my train of thought. So with the finances, the accountability team are there to make sure that we're doing the right thing with that. So if finances come in and we've got a mortgage, we've got this, we've got that, we don't want to be abusing the money that comes in. We want to make sure it's used for the ministry, yes, to support Trevor and Ali, but in a above the board sort of way, if that makes sense. Okay, there's just a few verses there that can talk about what we see as accountability. Just to give you a heads up, we have 5 people in that accountability team now, and they've committed for the time being, hopefully for a future. There's 2 couples involved. The first couple are a couple that have known us for about 20 years. They're from Wollongong in New South Wales. They've been over here a few times. Very, very good close friends. But the reason that we've asked them to be on this accountability team is it's Keith and Tanya Robinson. because there's a Robertson coming up as well. So Keith and Tanya Robinson. And Keith's a businessman, owns his own business, is very successful, done very well. He's very wise in how he does business. But they are both very wise in their spiritual journey as well. And even if we didn't give them permission to be honest and real with us and tell us what they really think about what we're doing and how we're doing it, they would do it. And so they're the type of people that we want to challenge us and support us and encourage us. The other couple, beautiful couple, Bevan and Kath Jones. And probably if you know them, it's probably you're probably not shocked on why we would want them in there. We just see them as a beautiful couple. And Bevan is very, obviously, he'll talk a bit about, he's going to come up and share a bit later, but he'll share a bit about what he does. And it's his role within the Christian network that I just look up to. And I love the way he does it. I love his integrity. And I love the way that Kath supports him in that. And that's Ali and me at the moment. We're babies in that. And they're just going to be a great support for us in that. And the other person is Keith Robertson. You know, he's going to not like it, but I see a real spiritual man in Keith. I see that he has a gift of discernment, a gift of wisdom, and a gift of allowing God to reveal stuff through him. And so he's come in more so for that spiritual blessing, but there's other things in a practical sense that he'll be. So that's our accountability team so far. I believe there are a few more that we'll add to it. And we'll meet, however, when we decide how often we'll meet, we'll work that out. But that's who's in that. Okay. So what's going to happen now? I'm just going to show a quick little PowerPoint from some photos. And when you're looking at these photos, it's things I've been involved in, people that I've had relationship with, that have really brought me to this point. So it just gives you a little bit of a quick snapshot into the types of things I've been involved in and seen and, I suppose, journeyed. So if we could just play that, thanks. It's supposed to be music, but it's not working.
G'day everyone, my name's Bevan. I'm CEO of 98.5 Sunshine FM, and I'm going to introduce a couple of people to you that know Trev. The real reason for doing that is I actually want to find out, is Trev really that nice? Is he really that approachable? So I'm going to put that question on a couple of people. At Sunshine FM, I get approached quite a few times a week by organisations, charities, whatever, to want to do something and partner with us and all of that. And I've learned to kind of just feel what's right and what's not. And so when Trev came to me, he was chatting about it, I just knew straight away, like, he didn't have to sell it to me. Partly because it felt right, and also I trust Trev. But also because at Sunshine FM, like, we get calls all the time through our reception, and it's people that have no hope. And one of the values there is hope. And people calling up going, I don't know who to go to. And it could be all sorts. It's addiction, or it's financial problems, or it's just someone to talk to. And, you know, we say call Lifeline, but they go, but it's not enough. They can't pray with me, or they can't go to, there's not the relationship there and all that. And so we try and direct them to places. And to be honest, there's places that we kind of go, well, there's Lifeline, or there's Samaritans, and they do a really good job. But when Trevor was telling me about Wisdom Calling, it was that I can actually wholeheartedly go, I can give you a first point of contact that I know will take the time to hear your story and then direct you to where you need to go if it's not with Trev. I know Trev's got the network, and we're helping with the network to set up where they can actually find hope. And that's the biggest thing for me, is people reaching out We want them to actually connect and not just reach out and feel helpless and hopeless. I'm going to get Claire to come up, because why I like Claire was she goes, Trev, I don't want to sit on a stool. I want to sit on the couch. So it's because Claire demanded it that we've got the couch here. I'm glad you did, Claire, because this is really awesome. Have we got the microphone? Have you got? I don't want to share, Claire. Now, Claire, I met you tonight, but I'm going to find out a bit about you and Trev and put this question on you. Actually, I'll start up with that. Grab a seat. Let's welcome Claire. Let's give her a clap. She feels so much welcome. Claire, first question, is Trev really that nice? Putting the heat on him.
It's not even about Trev being nice. It's basically since the first millisecond that I met him in a very unlikely setting, that he just completely shone a light that I'd never seen before, and just really was just an instant. It's going to sound really cheesy, but I've just got to go with it. It's just a really safe place, and I suppose from the background that I've had, growing up and things like that, at the time that I met Trevor was, I think we worked out about 13 or 14 years ago. So I was sort of, I'm going to reveal my age, but I was, very early 20s. It wasn't to, my natural instinct wasn't to have trust in men, or to feel comfortable, being in the presence of someone that, just genuinely wanted my friendship or those sorts of things. And so, yeah, I suppose, to answer it along, it's just, from the minute I met him, I knew that Trevor's just...
Comfortable, safe.
100%.
Cheesy's okay too, because that matches his 90s videos.
Movie, yeah.
So cheesy things are okay.
Okay, great.
Can you tell us a bit about, just say, your journey in the last 10 years, or from, just a bit of your journey, just to give it a bit of background, and then how Trevor's journeyed with you on that?
Yeah, sure. It's going to be a long one. So, I suppose my journey I'll probably start before I met Trevor. I actually remember praying to God when I was little. And then obviously I had a very difficult upbringing as a child from probably 4 onwards, which really separated me from my relationship with God. And I went through a lot of different challenges, abuse and neglect and all those sorts of things that are pretty challenging for a child, and then sort of found myself in, again, some pretty uncomfortable situations and some pretty lonely, sad places. And when I met Trevor, I couldn't have been further from being in a position of hearing what he had to say about, hope and those sorts of things, because I genuinely didn't have, that was just such a foreign concept to me, that there was that sort of life and that sort of sense of whole that I feel now. So Trevor and I met actually at a work function, so we work in a very similar industry, the electrical industry, but obviously mine's lighting, and we basically just struck up a friendship, and I felt completely comfortable with that. And I remember asking Trevor at the time, I was like, does your wife know that we catch up for coffees and stuff? And he's like, yeah, you're going to meet her next time. And I was like, okay, cool. It was one of those things where the most unusual of situations just eventuated into a really natural relation, which was really great. And I remember him talking about certain things about, him being a Christian and just certain things, and in a really authentic and just organic way, he would kind of just really make God apparent, I suppose, in our conversations and in his happiness and in his marriage and in his, life as a father and in his challenges, and just made it very relatable for me. And he just reminded me, I suppose, that there was a time that I remember praying to my father and having that relation, and I just had that curiosity that really drew me to wanting to find that again. That's really...
Trev was telling me, actually, because I went over for a beer a few weeks ago, Trev said he was actually shocked when you rang him up.
Yeah.
Tell us that.
Yeah, well, it was... I just remember, and, I think we'd all sort of caught up a few times before that, and I just, and again, the same with the way that I felt about Trevor is, again, instantly with Ali, and, just that really natural connection. And I suppose, if I'm honest, I probably felt like, if that's possible for me, that level of happiness and just, to be just such beautiful people, and just, I just want that. And I think my desire to be around them and, just to feel how they felt about life, and that glimmer of hope was just really, it was just like a magnet to me. So I just sort of rang up and said, when's church? Because I'm coming. Yeah.
And, Trevor, he didn't even work out church. Did I mention God that much?
Yeah, and not in a way that was in any way, and as I said, I was not in a place that if anyone would have been preaching to me, I would have actually found that, I would have distrust that.
Yeah.
Because I would have gone, okay, they've got their own agenda. It's not about me. They don't care about me. Yeah. They've got their own agenda. So I wasn't in a place that I could have heard that.
Yeah.
If I was being preached to, if I'm honest. So that's, yeah.
Do you think then that you've known Trev and Ali for a while, is the wisdom calling, is it no surprise in a way, or is it like an extension of what he's been doing anyway?
100%. It's that's their calling. They are in every single way, to myself, to my partner, to my children, just the ultimate role models and mentors for us in so many different ways. So it really is, I wasn't surprised in the slightest. And in fact, I will encourage and support and help out in any way, shape or form, because where I was and where I am today, I have, they're a huge part in my journey, and I think it's beautiful.
Thank you so much, Claire. You've earned yourself a free muffin. Well done. Give her a hand. I might get Selby. Can I get Selby to come up here? Join us on the couch. Very relaxing, Selby. I tell you what, if you were nervous, don't worry about it. You're just going to be so relaxed up here.
Like watching the TV.
Yeah. Give a hand for Selby. How did you meet Trev? Can I ask?
You can. So I met Trev, we were speaking about it the other day, through a group that he set up in the church here, Red Door, called the Father's Prayer. I went along, I think, to the first one that he held, which was probably a couple of years ago.
What's your early memories of Trev, like when you first started meeting him and catching up with him, or met him and then caught up with him a few times?
The first memories, I did recognise him in church, so I knew he had his Redbacks top on, and I wasn't a natural basketballer, but this guy was tall. I was attracted to the Father's Heart Prayer because I wanted to just do the best I could for my family and pray into that, and going along to this this prayer group was something I felt connected with, and Trev just made it so easy to be a part of that, and he was down to earth and easy to share with, and really it was easy to be open with him.
Yeah, and How long ago was that?
Oh, when we were doing that?
Yeah.
When we started? Oh, that
Yeah.
was about a couple of years ago.
A couple of years ago.
Yeah,
Great.
or 3.
Were you sort of, was there sort of certain, did you want something, or were you facing challenges, or what made you kind of go, yeah, I want to come along?
Yeah, so I come from New South Wales originally. Moved here in 2012. So at that point, life was pretty tough for me. I was, I guess you'd say, coming out of the back end of depression. And then that sort of rolled into the breakdown of my marriage, which was a pretty tough time. So moving away from family and starting a new, so moving across from obviously the other side of Australia, starting a new job, having a young family and wondering how it's going to work, and then throw that into the mix. And so it was, it was a tough time. I didn't know anyone over here, so I got involved. I met some people and Story, and went to Riverview, and that sort of progressed into coming to Red Door, feeling like it was part of really I belonged here, so like a family. And I just wanted to find, what I was looking for was like a setting with a group of guys that I could share with and sort of offload, I guess, a little bit, like Trevor was sharing before, and get that advice and how to navigate it. I didn't know what to do. I hadn't experienced this personally, or really knew many people that had. So there was a lot of obviously emotional turmoil going on, and so what Trev set up there provided that support from the, I guess, male perspective.
That's great. One thing I know about Trev is he's really quite open about his failings or the journey he's gone through and the things he might have done better, or that was chatting to Trev about Trev's quite open about himself going through separation, divorce, and all that. Was that did that help at all? That he was kind of quite open about that with you?
100%. Yeah. No. So a lot of I found that going along to these things, I initially went there, like I was saying before, is my heart was to pray for, and it is to pray for my kids and my family, and sort of put that prayer into them. But as much as I wanted that, the benefit from going, this was a support for me as well. So being able, knowing that Trev had experienced that and his life experiences, I knew that I could share things and then glean off Trev the experiences that he'd have, and sort of share, I'm going through this, and then Trev would be able to sort of pull on, from what he'd gone through.
How many guys do you reckon you meet in your everyday life that you look at and you go, man, you need someone you can download with? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely.
As guys, you come about people, and there's guys probably here that you go that haven't got someone or a place they can go and just honestly download without fear of copying, abuse or ridicule.
No, that's right. So I'm a professional. I'm an engineer. So engineers naturally, I guess, are pretty introverted, and it's a male-dominated industry. And even just with the ones that I come across, they're very much like that. And it's like looking with that video that Trev showed before. I don't see those words pop up when I put my glasses on, but you just imagine what sort of things, having gone through this, you just want, Trev showed on the slides before, everyone's broken. Everyone's got a story or a challenge that they've gone through, they've been through, and they need that support. And especially, I guess for me, being a sort of I know I'm not the best at sharing or opening up, but Trev's definitely helped me, being one of the major parts, being able to, I guess, overcome that hurdle and feeling safe and just more comfortable in doing that.
And I'd imagine wisdom calling, you might not feel capable of kind of, mentoring someone yourself or whatever, but the thing that you can go, hey, I know someone you can talk to.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I guess with so many things, like there's so much information out there, and especially like from my own experience, what I've been through, when you're at that state and there's so many things going on, there's so much stuff running through your head, and you're just not, you spend so much energy just trying to get through the day and just trying to survive, so it's emotionally exhausting. And sometimes you just need that one point of contact that you can talk to. They can stand back from the situation and point you in that right direction and be that help, so you don't have to worry about it. You go, where am I going to find this help? Because in a lot of cases as well, the places that you really need to get to are difficult to find. Like even if you do Google or try and search it, you mightn't be able to find them that way. But to know that there's someone you can go to and you can wholly trust them, and they've been through that experience and they can point you in the right direction, would take a load off. It does take a load off.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, Selby, thanks so much.
That's right.
Thanks for sharing. Well done.
No worries.
Now, I'm going to ask a beautiful woman to come up now, Danny. Had the joy of serving her coffee here a few times. And I've seen your photographs and your art, and man, it's just awesome. What an amazing lady. Here, I'll give you a microphone. There we go. Danny, explain who you are and how you kind of know Trevor and Ali.
I know him pretty well. He's my dad.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the third child of the lovely Alison and Trevor, and yeah, they've pretty much made me who I am today in a lot of ways, and I've taken a lot of what Dad does and what Mum does and applied it to my own life. So
Yeah, cool. Hey, you've had a really interesting journey. I mean, interesting is the word to use.
use many words.
Share what you're comfortable with, but say over the last, 10 years or so, tell us kind of, the ride you've gone on, or what's your journey and what's happened.
Well, basically, 10 years ago exactly, almost, I got diagnosed with arthritis, and I think that's where my sort of struggles started, and I started really learning about myself, because it made me really depressed, it made me a very sad person, and I wasn't dealing with it well, and having parents who are just so supportive, and even if they didn't know what to do, they did the right thing. They would just do whatever they could, and they were always there, and if I needed to talk, they'd listen. They wouldn't judge me, they wouldn't get mad at me for being mad. Like, yep, you're allowed to be mad, you're allowed to yell at me, because that's what you need to do right now. And I think that helped that a lot. And then from there, I've been through, a few different things. I think I've been a bit of a challenge to them, and tried, push their buttons a little bit, and through that I think our relationship has grown so much because of that. And very recently I went through quite some hard times, my arthritis coming back, and I was having some financial issues and all different things, and that was a moment where me and Dad actually really connected, more than I think we've ever really connected. And he was there for me every second. I was opening up to him about things that I never thought I would tell him. You have that as a kid. I don't want to disappoint my parents, so there's these little things I'm never going to tell them, and I'm going to keep them hidden, and they'll still be proud of me. And I realised they don't care. If I stuff up, do the wrong thing, make the wrong decisions, if I'm mad about the wrong things, I can tell him, and he'll just go, all right, let's pray. And I never thought that was exactly what I needed. And yeah, through that, it was 3 months where I was calling you constantly in tears and messaging him every day going, I don't know what to do. And he'd be like, I'm praying for you. And then I'd feel better instantly. And I'd just know that he was just always there. It was this crazy feeling. And to have that from your parents, because I'm a very big part of the LGBTQI community, and in my world, parents aren't always great. Parents aren't always there. And a lot of my friends have said to me, that my dad is the first straight man that they have hugged and felt comfortable around in their whole life. In my community, it is not normal to trust Christians or to trust people who believe in God, because there are a few people out there that kind of ruin it. But then meeting my dad has completely changed their entire mindset of what a Christian is. They now see my dad as what a Christian is. They don't see all these other crazy idiots. They see my dad and go, no, Christianity is good. Christianity means love. Christianity means hope. It means someone that's always there for me. And I think, he's now reached into this whole new world, and he's actually affecting people that he's not really even in contact with.
Yeah.
But he's still affecting them.
It's like the common theme is your parents, and especially Trev, a safe place.
So safe.
Like non-judgmental.
Yeah, and it wasn't always that way, for sure. Like, my parents have had their moments where they were very judgmental, and it made me recluse, and I was scared to tell them things because of that. But then they've learned, they've wised up, they've got their wisdom from different places, and then all of that has then affected me as well.
How much is it, and whether Trev's only recently, or has he always been a person that's been really honest and open about his own life and say what he would think as failings or the stuff-ups he's made or whatever? Has he always been open, or only recently, or has it always been?
I think with me and the kids, he was always trying to not show weakness. So I think it was more just... It wasn't really hiding stuff from us. It was more just not wanting to burden us. And I think now that we're all older as well, he's realised that he can. We're here too. Like, everything you've taught me about being supportive, I can now support him with that. And I think he's realised that over time. I think he's grown a lot and become more and more open. Even when he was open, it's just blossomed and become even more open, and he's more caring and less judgmental, and it comes with time. And I think that's why he's perfect for this, because my parents aren't perfect, and they've taught me that nobody's perfect, and it's okay. As long as you talk about it and you're willing to work on it and become a better person.
Yeah.
And that's what it wasn't always, but...
Yeah. But you've seen the journey, and you've been on the journey.
Definitely. Like, I've been there for the whole thing.
Probably one last question to ask you is for you. Don't repeat what your dad's dream is, but what do you think? Where do you want to see Wisdom Calling go, or what do you think it's going to do, or in the future? What would you like to see Wisdom Calling do, or have an impact with, or?
I can't even imagine it at this point, I don't think, because, like everyone said, it's such a natural thing. My dad is a minister. He's always been someone who you go to, and he's always been a support system, even when he's not been his job. And he's had other things on. He's always been that for people. And so I think this was just a natural progression. I think it is just going to go further. And especially, with me being in such a different world and such a different community, to be able to then share that with my world and go, look, you can trust people outside of our little world. And, people like the people I, am with, my community, and other communities that feel oppressed or like they can't open up to Christians or godly people in any way. They'll see my dad and go, you know what? There's no judgment there. He's not pushing this on me. And I think he'll really get into those groups of people that it's hard to get into. It's hard to make them trust. I think those people that have real trust issues are the kind of people that my dad can help. Because you just trust him.
And so that's what I'm thinking is that relationship and that trust and that safe place is something probably just a phone counselling line can't.
Yeah, I think he will take it to the next level, because, talking to someone over the phone, like, it's not the same as having someone there, even if you don't know them, that can just tap you on the shoulder and say, it's all right, I'm here. Put a hand on your back and pray if they're cool with it. Like,
it's no, hidden thing that I've not always been very strong with the whole Christianity thing and the praying and all of that, because I didn't always believe in it. I had my rebellious moments, and Dad's pulled me back into it and gone. He was never forceful with it. He was never going, okay, we're going to pray for you now because this is what we do. It was, what do you want me to do? And he'll tell you, like, I've started messaging him going, can you pray for me today? Because I'm having this, and this happen, or I feel like something bad's going to happen. I would never have done that. I never would have done that, like, even 2 years ago. But because of his just willingness to just be patient and wait for you to come to him, and he'll just pop his little pellets of Jesus, little Jesus pellets, and then eventually he'll be like, oh, I need more. Can you help me now? And I think that's his way it will go so far, because he doesn't push it, he's not going to force it. And yeah, I think it'll be beautiful.
I can see why he's so proud of you. Well done. You've earned yourself a free muffin too. So give her a clap. Well done. Good job. I'm going to hand it back to Trev now. Is that all right, Trev? Do you want to
Intro the next.
Oh, sorry.
Play the next one. I don't know if everybody got to see that, did they? There's supposed to be music with it. Yeah, can you just... yeah, that's good. So all those things, for some reason, every time I practice it, all those little words came up one by one, so it stayed up there a lot longer, and there was music to it and everything, and tonight it's not doing it. So there you go. But basically what they were saying is it's about relationship. And I've got to tell you right now, I'm pretty humbled. And I've just got to say this right now. Where's she gone? Where'd Danny go?
To get a free muffin.
I have to wait for her to come back. Going to, in a minute, go through the website. I don't know if any of you have had a look at it. But the reason I want to show you the website is to show you how it's targeted, really. It's really targeted to non-Christians. And what blew me away, I know I have a relationship with Danny's community and the guys that are in that community. But I didn't know the effect that it was having. And I think that's the beauty of it. We don't know the effect we have on people. And it's not me. It's really not me. Because I'm just doing what God does for me. And I've got to be real, this is it. This is the key. Actually, I'm not going to go through the website. I'll just show people. I'm not going to go through the website. You can look that up. Just look for wisdomcalling.com.au. I'm just doing what God's done for me. And I face some pretty tough situations. Ali and I face some pretty tough situations. My children have faced some pretty tough situations. Friends, people I know have faced some pretty tough situations. But one thing I know is God's never let me down. And no matter what I've done to hurt him, and I've done things to hurt him, no matter what I've done, he's never said, get away from me. Leave me alone. I want nothing to do with you. He's always sat there waiting for me to return to him and to come to him. And that's wisdom calling. Wisdom calling is God waiting patiently. It's not Trevor going and doing stuff. It's not anyone going and doing stuff. It's just me saying, okay, God, I'm willing to take that step and allow you to use that step to touch someone's life. Danny, I want to tell you that part of this journey has been seeing you, how you love on other people. how you love your community. I'm drawn to that. How you love on the homeless people throughout Northbridge. And seeing, it's an amazing thing to be standing outside Connections nightclub. We go in as well. I've actually been inside Connections nightclub dressed as Thor. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's an interesting activity. But what is amazing is standing outside Connections, catching up with Danny. So whenever we go to the city, we try and stay long enough that we can catch up with Danny there. And yeah, the young guys coming up, give Trevor a hug because I'm the safe man for a hug. But seeing homeless people come up and just want to hang with Danny because she loves on them. And I've got to tell you, it spoke things to me, Danny. You helped me on this journey. And you are an amazing person. You're an amazing girl. You have a beautiful heart. And I know that God has a journey for you in helping those people. I know it. So, where are we going to go now? On the website, there's probably 2 pages that are a bit Christian. One is a resource page. So if people go on the resource page, there's one amazing thing on there at the moment. It's a little book called My Wife, My Church. That's all that's on there at the moment. I had to put it somewhere. But the whole idea of that is if I come across a CD, if I hear an audio thing, if I read a book, if I see a film, if I see anything, and I think it is going to help people relationally from a Christian perspective, sometimes I might have to get permission to put it there, but I'm going to put it up on that page as a resource for people to click on. So when they're reading through all the front page and they're going, oh, this sounds really good, and what resources are there? Oh, actually, marriage is a good thing, you know. A lot of people don't think that. They're in marriage and they think marriage is hell. I've been there. I thought marriage was hell. I've been through one marriage and a marriage breakup and I thought, here we go again. And I spent a lot of time thinking that for a while. And amazingly, I'm going, can't wait for the next day right now. Can't wait for the next week. Can't wait for the next year for this marriage. So on that, yeah, so there's this resource page. The other one is, and I'm comfortable talking about part of it. I'm not comfortable talking about another part of it. The first part is, it's the supporters page. Oh, so there is another one. There's a partners and links page. So that's a combination of government organisations and Christian organisations that I've connected with via email or whatever, and just said, are you okay if I have someone that I think you would benefit from talking to you for me to pass them your information? And I've got all those people up on my website. And I'll continue to network with those and build that up as I go. And I thank Bevan because he helped a little bit with that as well. But the other one is the supporters page. And the part I'm comfortable talking about is the we need prayer support and spiritual support. So if something that we're doing, what we're doing is really connected with you, I'd ask you just to pray for us, because it's really important just to pray and support us in that way. And that's the part I'm really comfortable with. It's the second bit that I struggled with. And it was a 6-month battle with God in regards to me stepping out and saying, okay, I'm going to put it out there. And it has to do with me, you know, we've been struggling financially. And for me to do this is like, what are you doing? And I'm being really honest with you. And I said, okay, God, if I'm going to do this, I've got to make money out of it. Show me how to put things in place that I can charge people for this. And then he goes, Trev, anything you do that's relational, one-on-one stuff, it's free. And I'm going, seriously, God, you know, how am I going to support my family? I can't do this. And he said, you're not representing Trevor, you're representing me. You're representing me. And you're representing the church. And I battled and battled. I've got to tell you, I had arguments with God. And I am not going to ask people for money. Because it really frustrates me. And I'm going back 70s, 80s, where people have come along to your Bible study group and they're going on a mission. It's their mission. but they don't come to talk about the mission. They come to talk about how much, put a guilt trip on you for the type of car you have and all this sort of stuff, and say, oh, you need to, how can you do that when there's people struggling and all that? And so I don't want to put a guilt trip on anyone, but what I want to do is challenge you with that and say, if this is touching your heart, I'm not saying support it financially. I'm saying go away and ask God. And if God touches your heart, he'll provide the finances that he puts on your heart to provide for Wisdom Calling. Now, he said to me that there'll be people that want to support you monthly and want to support you with a one-off gift. And I'm not to be concerned with that. This is the only time I'm concerned with it, and it's just to relay a message that it's not Trevor's heart to ask for finances. So I just ask you to consider that. And we've still got a little bit of time. There are forms out there, like I've said. There's actually sheets out there that have how you could support us financially, details on it. They're there. I don't expect anyone to fill it out tonight, but I would love it if you felt led to, take it away and pray over that. Don't just go, I'm going to do it. Pray over it, make sure it's a God thing. Because I don't want to, yeah, I'll just leave it there. Right now, I've got a little bit of time. If you guys want to ask me anything about Wisdom Calling, just about Wisdom Calling. Now, you can ask me about other stuff if you want to, but if there's any questions anyone's got, I'm open to answering those right now, if anyone's got any questions.
Can I... Sorry, I'll grab this mic. Sorry. It's okay, it's running across. Anyway, it's funny. Two things to ask Trevor questions, because to be honest, like I'm explaining to Kath's going, so what's it all about? What's it actually going to do? How does it look? So if you've got questions like that in your head, don't go away when should have asked him. But please ask your questions. The other thing about the finances thing that Trev finds so hard, and I found it hard 7 years ago when I started at Sunshine FM, asking for money is shocking. I hate it. But what I've learnt is that I actually don't ask for money. I put it out there, and if God puts it on your heart, then great. If God doesn't put it on your heart, then don't. But pray about it, and if God puts it there, and you've got a feeling, something about it, I want to support it, then do it. But yeah, so question time now, Trev. How's this going to look? And I'll start off because I've got the question, and I'm on the accountability team, and I've still got this question. In practically, like, so say someone rings me and goes, I'm really struggling with my relationship, blah, blah, blah. I go, I know a guy you can talk to. What I'll do is go, here's his number, give him a call. How does it actually look like? What's going to actually happen? Yeah,
well, obviously I'm working. So the company I work for knows what I'm doing. And it isn't to interfere with anything I would do work-wise. But I do work in a flexible job that I have, and not best case scenario, but if I get a phone call from someone, usually it'll probably just go to message bank, and I'll listen to the message, and depending on what that message says, I'll either text back and say, I'll ring you later, or if I think it's urgent enough, I'll ring them back. The other side of it is via email. People contact me via email. I'll email back. And I think God's real. This is where prayer is going to be really vital for me, is that when I read an email or listen to a message, that I say, God, what do you want me to do with this right now? And I've got to trust whatever comes into my... I've learned that when you ask God, he'll give you an answer. And it's like, my sheep hear my voice. So I'm going to trust God to guide what I do next. And if he says, ring this person, I'm going to ring them. If he says, that's all good, I'll just at least text them and say, or email them back and say, got your message. If you need to talk to you sooner, otherwise I'll contact you at this time. And that'll be after work, obviously. So, does that make sense?
Yeah. And sorry to hold the questions, but say you're speaking to someone about relationship difficulties and you go, and you've chatted to them, they feel comfortable, but you're going, actually, this needs someone probably more qualified than me.
Yep. It depends on what the challenge is, and are they Christian, are they not Christian. There's a lot of different things that you have to consider. It may be a case of me actually contacting someone and saying, hey, getting permission to talk to someone else about it. But even saying, I've got these people that are struggling with this, what do you reckon? Are you the right people for me to put them in touch with? But generally, I think it'll be just letting them firstly offload. And it may be a case of sometimes it doesn't come out healthy for a couple if they're going through a struggle for them both to come and have a conversation initially. It might be the person that's contacted you, you go, okay, well, that's the person that's been on the front foot. I'm going to talk to them first. If it's a woman, hail Ali and go, hey, can we just go and catch up with this person for a coffee? Because usually it'll be first phone call, which is a safe place. But if it got to the point where it was, I'm going to need to meet with this person, just chat to them, find out a bit more, I'd then say to Ali, are you comfortable? If not, there's plenty of other women I know that would back me up and come and I could organise that with. But I think it's just getting to understand the situation and the background and their culture. So I might talk to people like at the Redbacks, I could be talking to Aboriginal people or Muslim people or people from various backgrounds. And for me to say, how about we go talk to this Christian organisation, that might not work. And it may not be good for them to go and talk to a government organisation because they might not give them the answers they need. So it's a tricky one. And seriously, it'll be, what am I supposed to do, God? Because I don't know. And my parenting has been that. I don't know what to do, God, show me what to do. And he just says, love them. Love your kids, don't hassle them, love them. So it's worked.
Yeah, Trevor, I was just wondering if somebody needs to call you for some help, what's the phone number? And do you have a special other phone so it doesn't interfere with your family?
Yeah, I've got a mobile that I've got now for it. There's actually business cards out on the table out there, so you can grab one of those. So either you can either tell them to just go to wisdomcalling.com. It's on the business card as well, and the email and the phone number is both on there. And it's a separate phone from what I would use. I use my work phone more for private as well as work. So this is strictly just for wisdom calling.
Say if someone came to you and you needed to point them on somewhere else, would the intent be that you would assist that person by contacting whoever you were going to recommend, or would you just say, here's someone I recommend and I think you should call them and leave it to them? How would you run it?
Again, it depends on the person. I think it would be me asking them, would you like me to contact this company for you or this organisation, or are you happy to do that? And some people aren't comfortable doing it, and some people aren't even comfortable going and seeing other organisations or people that they don't know. So it may even be a case of, would you like me to go with you to the first appointment and be a part of it? So it's about people feeling comfortable, and about I don't ever want people to feel like I don't care. So, no, you're not what I want to deal with, so I'll palm you off onto these people. That's the last thing I want people to feel. I want them to know that I love them, more so that God loves them. And I suppose it goes back to that, they'll know we are Christians by our love. So if I love them, they're going to know that there's something behind that. And I've had enough experiences where it blew me away that me just caring about someone, they've looked deeper behind that and gone, what's this really about? And they've questioned me. And I've said, well, actually, it's God. You know, I've got a God that loves me, so I love other people. That's basic. That's very just, but it's about, just not having them feel like they're not important, I suppose. That, go on the journey with them.
Got another question, if I could. So the groups that you partner with, is there obviously like there's one group that would do, or a number of groups, sorry, that would do the one thing. Is there something in particular or a common trait in those groups that you look forward to partner with, or is there something that, like didn't understand what I mean. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's go mental health for instance, right? I'm not going to recommend doctors and organisations that I haven't had experience with, I suppose. And while we struggle with the public system, public health system, experience that I've seen through anxiety, through breast cancer, through various things, the experience I've seen when it's a significant problem or something that's really vital for somebody to get a good healthy outcome or to get the support they need, I've found that the public system has the right people in place at the right levels to support those people. And funny enough, when you're honest about your Christian side and the spiritual side, they actually get it most times. And they actually, while it might not be Christianity, they see that the spiritual side is a bit of a connection because there's things they don't understand and they can't work out. And so I just see that I just see that as a safe place if it's coupled with the right things from a Christian perspective. So they might need spiritual healing as well as medication, for instance. So does that make sense? Yep.
What safety things have you got in place for yourself that when you're dealing with these people, that you don't take on their emotional well-being or state?
Yeah, that's part of the accountability team's side of things, is that I have someone that I can just tell them what I've been up to and what I'm doing. But I also have a number of men that, I've gone through stuff and I've had 40 men that I can send a text to and say, I'm really struggling, guys. And I get texts back from every one of them. And some of them will say, I'm free at 3 o'clock, you want a coffee? And so I've got enough people in my network, if I feel burnt out or feel like I've got too much happening, I can offload on. And I suppose the biggest indicator is I've got a wife that's very perceptive on that stuff. And she can see changes in me when I'm stressed or when I'm flat or down. And we have a very honest, open communication. And so I think, there's quite a few things in place that sort of help out with that. So, yeah. Yep.
Have you, is there much, I guess, sort of in a plan to, I guess, take more proactive steps? So is there, say, I don't know, like a 2 or 3 hour block in the week that you can say, hey, I'm going to go to a local hospital or something like that, and to be able to go and meet people where they're at rather than, I suppose, wait for the phone calls and that? Or how do you sort of see that working out?
Yeah, I struggled with that, actually. But I suppose what I've found out, so I have a heart for people in business as well as people that are struggling with health and sport and everything. And it's like, do I go out and proactively promote myself? And then I talk to people like Bevan and Adam and various people in my world. Morrow is a good example of someone I've chatted to. And they say there's already people doing that. And so it's like, do I go and butt in, I suppose, on what other people are called to do? So there's people that go into hospitals and that's their ministry. And I suppose what I'm more aware of, you saw a family, I don't know if you saw it in the photos, there was a family with 2 boys and a couple of girls. That's the Wilson family from Albany. And they came to our church here about a year and a half ago. And I just saw them in the foyer and in the coffee area and just said, how you going? Yeah, what's happening? And got to know them a bit, found out that because one of their boys had a broken leg, was in a wheelchair, and I've gone, that's a bit weird to be in a wheelchair. What's going on? Find out they're both on a waiting list for kidney transplants. They're up in Perth, away from family. They've got a few family people around here. And I was just drawn to connect with them. And we're still friends with them. Kids, a year and a half later, the kids came up for a blood fusion, clean out, whatever it was they had to have, and they were in hospital a week and a half ago. Mum rang and said, we're going to be there, do you want to come and drop in? Yep, so we went along and dropped in, and we've been down and stayed at their place for the weekend and hung out with them. That won't happen every time. We won't make these close friends that, you know, they become people we go and hang out with all the time, but they're just people that know that they can contact us when they're in Perth, and they can message us whenever they want, and we get back, and Ali's involved in that as well. We went over to Sydney for a holiday. It happened to be when one of the boys was having his operation, so we dropped in on the hospital, caught up with them for the afternoon and did things like that. So that's a long story in a long way. But, I don't want to... There's people doing sports chaplaincy, there's people doing chaplaincy in school, there's people doing chaplaincy in hospital and in business that I found out about. And while I can partner with them, it may be a case in business, say, that I meet someone that's struggling and there happens to be a business chaplain that has the time to go and that's his ministry, and he can go and I can connect the two. But it will be, and I've got to be really honest, I'm not just going to go, oh, this person's doing that job here, I come and meet them, because even if I don't know them, I want to get to know people first. So that's my thing, will be networking with people within those organisations, I suppose, and ministries.
Trevor, obviously there's going to be a fair bit of confidentiality with what you do, but would there be a certain amount of feedback that you could give, even if you use another name, that whether you sort of follow or as to pray into?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, there's situations where confidentially is confidentiality. Can't say very much, but generally there's an overview of something you can give that won't give away too much. And so, yeah, I've got no problem with them. And one of the reasons I've got those contact sheets up there is for that, so that I can keep people. So, yeah, do I do a monthly newsletter? Do I just, as things come up, share that with people and say, hey, there's this person struggling with this. Can you guys please pray for them? Very similar to what we do on the city, I suppose, with our church and prayer points and things like that. So, but confidentiality is very important, and I've got to protect myself with that as well. And it came up for me and Bev when we were having our beer the other day, so he's going to help me with that to make sure that I'm putting things in place that protect me as much as it protects the other people as well.
Speaking into that, I can say Sunshine FM, been broadcasting 29 years. The foundation that, say, Sunshine FM is built on is because I've got 188 people in a prayer team that I send out regular stuff to, and I know they're praying. You know, you talk about the foundation of prayer. It's not any smart things we're doing. That's the foundation. So the same with Trev, and what I reckon we'd be doing is probably have the little emergency prayer stuff, but probably a regular things to pray. And if you think, well, actually, I haven't got any money that I can help with or whatever, the best thing, the most powerful thing you can support Wisdom Calling with is prayer. And if for those that want to be on like the prayer support for this, and it might just be getting an email from Trev, hey, can you pray for a lady? Here's a story, here's what she's going through, can you pray into it? That's going to make things happen. So that's, yeah.
Yeah, and I suppose to encourage people with the whole prayer thing, you can be praying about stuff. We can send you a simple message. Anyone can send you a simple message, pray for this person, and then all of a sudden you're sending messages back that you think mean nothing, but be confident in doing that. Don't ever think when you're praying, don't ever think that whatever comes in your head's not valid or not worth sharing, because the stupidest things in your head can be the most wise and helpful things and loving and caring things and illuminating things in other people's worlds. And like I said, when I shared a bit about me going on this journey, and God was saying, just do it in the natural way that you're doing it now. There's people that I had never met. Well, I'd met, but I didn't know them. And they didn't know my journey. They didn't know what I was doing, because this was sort of like, people go, what's this Wisdom Calling thing? And they know me well, and I had to explain it to them. This person didn't know me that well. We met once, I think, and they were praying, and it was at the Family Foundations, and they were praying in the intercessory prayer, and they had a word for me, but it didn't get shared. And then I saw them a week later at a follow-up thing, and they said, "Oh, did someone share this with you?" I went, "No." And they said, "I just got this word, what was it? Baby steps." And I'd had different people come up and just say little by little, because I'm getting ready to go, I've got to go all in, or I'm not showing faith. And it's like, no, little by little, baby steps, all these little prayer things were coming from the most unexpected people that didn't really know what I was doing. And they think, they're going, like, that just sounds stupid, but it was really, really meaningful for me. Might leave it there. I hope that was helpful. The contact sheets that are out there are a spot there to put any questions you want to ask or anything you want to share or anything like that. And I love what Bevan said about the finances. I would rather having 100 people praying, because God can pluck money out of the air like that. I've been blown away. I shared with you that we've been struggling financially. We went through something together, Ali and I, about 3-4 months ago that sort of hit us in the head financially, and we weren't going to survive, paying our mortgage and paying all that. And we put things in place in a practical way that helped us through that time, but we still were on the edge financially. And we want to go see our grandkids at Christmas, and we're going, we can't afford it, we can't do this. Do we do it? And I checked our finances the other day. We're $7,000 ahead of where we need to be right now. And I'm like, how did that happen? We shouldn't have that money. I'm being really honest with you. We shouldn't be there. And we're still going, but we know we've got the next few months. We've got to be wise in this. We've got the next few months where we know that we've got things coming up financially, commitments. So, but I said to Ali a few times, and I sort of heart and chest sort of thing, heart and the mouth sort of thing, that where you go, it's going to be okay, Ali. We're going to be good. God's got our back. Don't have to worry about the finances. He's got it. I know that God's got our finances intact. So I don't have to ask you guys for money, but he's asked me to. Put it out there because it might be something that will bless you and blessing others. You're going to be blessing others, you're not blessing Trevor and Ali. And that's the key. Thank you.